I'd like to welcome everyone to convene this meeting. I call upon Chaplain Rich Stogman to present the invocation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. In this moment, God, at the time called, we pause for God's guidance. We are compelled to say aloud, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see." This is the primary reason we're reminded of eternity expectations, as this mantra explains. Commitments are the school for moral formation. Character emerges from our commitments. Thus, as believers, when we face the world of the unavoidable, the best way to do so is with faith and deeds, prayer as a verb, and purpose without derailment. Hear our prayer, God, as this body, the SREC, meets on behalf of others for the good of the great state of Texas. May they never forget that purpose. Instill in each of us, God, the capacity to emulate what those other brave souls of the biblical teachings taught us as they stood up against the next generation could walk for a new sense of direction by concretizing the humanity and deepening respect for God, family, country, and others, no matter what. Indeed, now more than ever, we all must work together as we keep our eyes on the prize and hold on because society needs it. So we pray for those who act as responsible guardians of our local communities, even when the duties they perform are not always acknowledged or appreciated. And lest we forget, those who are in harm's way are long ways from home. So we pray for those who streak across the turbulent skies, move underneath the forceful oceans, march on the hot, sandy desert floors, and serve in the dense jungles of the world. Be with them, God. Be with their families as they look through the windows of anticipation of their loved one's safe return home. Help them and us to remember, no matter what, hope is our strongest weapon. To God be the glory. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Call upon SD 16, Susan Fountain and Matt Patrick here. Then I call upon SD 12, Jill Glover and David Wiley, to come and lead us in our national anthem and our United States Pledge of Allegiance.
You can be
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, through the stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someone else. If you want to stay in and do it.
See, I thought she was going to check.
Call upon SB 17, Becky Green and Sean Chapin.
Becky, we're up.
Nobody can sing.
Texas, our Texas, all hail almighty state. Texas, our Texas, so wonderful, so great. Boldest and grandest, withstanding every test. Oh, empire wide and glorious, you stand supremely blessed. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Call upon Chris Jones to give the proxy report, committee report. Mr. Novus, in absence of Ms. Coons, Tom Novus will give the proxy committee report.
Chairman, we have one additional proxy for today, Teresa Breckmeyer.
Please keep your sidebar conversations at a minimum.
Chairman, we have one additional proxy for today, Teresa Breckmeyer, ST28, for Steve Evans.
Thank you. We will now have the roll call by the secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looks like we have a few absences, so as people come in again, have them check in with me. I very much appreciate that. Chairman Alan West. Here. Vice Chair Kat Parks.
Here.
Secretary Virgil Cruz. I'm here. Tim O'Hare, Treasurer. Susanna Zacapil, General Counsel. Assistant General Counsel Rachel Hooper.
Here.
Parliamentarian Richard Hayes. Here. Sergeant at Arms Mike McCloskey.
Here.
Chaplain Rich Soglin.
Here.
Finance Chair Ed Trevies. Historian Dr. Tim Wesley.
Here.
RNC Committee Man Dr. Robin Armstrong. RNC Committee Woman Tony Andishio. Starting from Senate District 1, Rhonda Anderson.
Here.
Dr. Charles Blankenship.
Here.
Jerry Fisher. Stephen Stanley.
Here.
Janice Holt, Proxy Karen Morris.
Here.
David Covey.
Here.
Gwen Withrow.
Here.
Chris Bro.
Here, sir.
Joe Miller.
Here.
Proxy for Bill Fairbrother, Susan Patrick.
Here.
Don McDonald. Chris McDonald. Deborah Kelton Fight.
Here.
Tom Novus.
Here.
Maggie Witt.
Here.
Abraham George. Ann Gephardt.
Here.
Steve Atwell. Proxy for Susan Wright, Jill Tate.
Here.
Warren Norris. Tanya Robertson.
Here.
H. Scott Apley. Jill Glover.
Here.
David Wiley.
Here.
Don Elliott.
Here.
Roy Morales.
Here.
Olga Lasher or proxy for Olga? Okay, gotcha. Fernando Trevino Jr. Gail Stannard.
Here.
Rolando Garcia. Susan Fenton.
Here.
Matt Patrick. Becky Green.
Here.
Sean Cheevan. Edie Sinclair. Proxy for Joe Walsh, Edie Sinclair. Okay, thank you. Dr. Alma Arnaldo Lynch. Frank Lopez Jr. Grace Jones. Carmen Calderon.
Here.
Naomi Narvaez. Terry Harper. Debbie Duke. John Carr. Leslie Thomas. Stephen Broden. Mary Jane Avery.
Here.
Proxy for Beck Barcroft Powell.
Here.
Chris Coons. Mark DeRazio.
Here.
Marion Senko. What a sweet. Marion Senko. Fred Rangel. Morgan Graham.
Present.
Carlos Cascos.
Here.
Proxy for Robin Hayes, John Beckmeyer. Proxy for Steve Evans, Teresa Beckmeyer. Robin Cooper. Mark Dunham. Dion Starr. Britton, is she coming or?
She is coming.
So she's represented by you until she gets here. When she gets here, just have her check in, please. Britton Brooks is here. Debbie Hayes.
Here.
Carol Precure. I saw the McDonald's come in. Did anyone else come in during the roll? Scott Appley, I got you present now. Who else has come in?
McDonald's SE6.
Gotcha, McDonald's. Abraham George. Anyone else? All right, if they come in, just make sure they check in, please. And we have proxy committee, if you could come to the front, I've got a new one for you also. Mr. Chair, you have a form.
Before we begin, I'd like to have the chairman of Smith County, Chairman Stein, come up and give a few words.
I always say to people, you know, if you clap before somebody comes up, you don't know what they're going to say. You might not clap when they leave. But Mr. Chairman and Madam Vice Chair, and I know I can use those pronouns in this room, welcome to Smith County. Welcome to our sunny springtime. So much so where I think I'm going to dig a hole in my front yard and just stock fish there, just leave it be a pond that it is. But look, we're glad to have you guys here. We're excited that you chose Tyler, Texas, Smith County to come to and to be a part. Pastor Rich talked about generations, and it's interesting because, as Judge Moran mentioned yesterday, it's the home of Patrick Mahomes. And some of us who have been here a long time, you know, it used to be the home of Earl Campbell, the Tyler Road. But, you know, we're about 70% Republican here, and so our challenge is to help support the areas that don't have a heavy Republican base. I mean, my job is to make sure that we turn out great candidates, not just for our state levels, but also for our locals. We just elected a very conservative member for the city council. His line in his campaign was the biggest difference between me and my opponent is you will never see me at a Bernie Sanders rally. So, but we worked really hard to make sure that he got elected. We've got a school board election. They're replacing Pastor Hager, who was the chaplain this morning. He was serving our school board for 6 years. He's stepping down. We're going to make sure a good conservative gets in. So we appreciate everything you guys do. I want to shout out especially, I don't know if we've gotten here yet, but Brian Hughes has been a great friend and really been helpful to me, both personally and professionally. But Rhonda Anderson and Christy Anthony have been, they're our power team up here. And these guys have been so, go ahead. Please. I've been chair here dating all the way back to August of the year 2020. So I'm still figuring it out as we go. But anyway, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. And again, glad you chose Tyler, Texas. God bless.
I also want to recognize the RNC West Region Director, that's Mr. Drew Sexton. Thank you so much for sponsoring the reception last night. The quorum having been determined, I now call the meeting to order. We'll start off with our standing committee reports. Our first will be the Candidate Resource Committee, Mr. Steve Atwell. Okay, we will skip Mr. Atwell and we will go to Party Organization, Ms. Susan Bowman.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman. Good morning, and thank you to all the members of the Party Organization Committee. Would you kindly stand and be recognized and give everybody a round of applause for their efforts? Thank you so much. That includes our working group member, Mr. David Carter, also, who traveled to help out as well. We continue to acknowledge that the once safely Republican state of Texas has been in the crosshair of leftists in order to seal the fate of America to be turned permanently to socialism. They are well organized and will not let anything deter them from this vision. The complicit media keep repeating in unison their narratives while continuing to censor our messages. We continue our efforts to reach those who are still in their comfort zone and have not yet become aware of the pending problems that we face in the future. We're on track to get our county chairs online with websites to help disseminate information and partnering with the TRCCA to accomplish this goal. Many thanks to TRCCA President David Covey, along with Executive Director and our fellow SREC members, David Covey, and our Executive Director, Dwayne Wright, for their efforts as well. As liaisons to your county chairs, we ask that all of you reach out to your county chairs to assist and report back any needs that they might have. The few counties without chairs will have websites, regardless, to distribute information to their areas and get them information and ways to be involved. And Dwayne reported that having a website enabled us to find a county chair. Our resources are many from the state level. There are many resources on our state website, and we can download them and get them to our county chairs and give them recruiting ideas and training tools for organizing and getting involved in our missions all across Texas. Thank you also to our working group member, David Carter, again, who is also lending his many years of mentoring and training skills to precinct chairs. Training videos, manuals, forms, and ideas for your county chairs are all accessible through the exclusive content and can be shared with Republicans all over Texas. Please continue to help us organize the farm team, as these are our grassroots, and grow the need for people to get interested, informed, and involved at the very basic levels. As the election integrity legislation, along with other priorities, will be addressed in the upcoming special session, we will make any updates to our county chair and precinct chair manuals after the close of this session. These existing manuals will be improved pending any updates and will be distributed when they're finished. Just remember, the devil never sleeps, and we have to sleep with one eye open. This concludes our report of the party organization committee, and I yield back the rest of my time. Thank you.
Mr. Atwell is still, and Pastor Bowden is not here. Oh. We will now have partnerships and coalitions.
Yes, we must stay with the new terminology. And if I make any mistakes along the way and I include the word auxiliary, please do not be offended. Chairman West, Vice Chairman Parks, fellow SREC members, I'm pleased to provide you with this report of the auxiliaries and coalitions committees, which recently became the partnerships and coalitions committees activities. The committee has been focused on 4 efforts to further our mission of enhancing collaboration between our partner organizations, RPT, and our elected officials. Calendars, the recertification administration oversight of the partnerships and coalitions, focusing on our marginal districts, and establishing a forum for our partnerships and coalitions to experience and to share experiences and best practices. The calendars effort is focused on synchronizing the RPT calendar with those of our partnerships and coalitions to better inform all SREC and grassroots activists across the state about our auxiliaries events and activities. At our last meeting, we announced that software has been put in place to maintain this synchronization automatically, and we're continuing to debug this software and streamline the updating of the RPT calendar. The administrative effort has completed our work to recertify all of the existing partnerships and coalitions as of the last quarterly meeting, and have begun working to document what we found for the next SREC, so that the troubles we had coming in not finding records would be not perpetuated in the future SRECs. And we'd like to leave an established body of work for our successors to stand upon, including a defined application and recertification process. Our marginal district effort is focused on reaching out to our Republican state legislators in marginal districts to understand how our partnerships have been helpful to their campaigns and where they see our partnerships playing a larger role. We started with 5 state reps and intend to expand our survey to all 16 Republican state rep districts with a margin of victory less than 10%. We received 1 response and commitments from others to provide their responses in the coming weeks. But the data received to date has already provided insights on opportunities around physical infrastructure, bilingual block walkers, and the necessity of coordination with local parties, especially the precinct chairs. Once we gather our data, we are excited to partner with Party Organization Committee to jointly use this data to strengthen our grassroots and marginal districts and win in 2022. The forum effort is focused on providing opportunities for our partnerships to share their successes, challenges, best practices, and lessons learned so that they can stand on each other's shoulders. You'll be hearing from a number of our partnerships here in just a few minutes, and our National Committeewoman was gracious in having our partnerships to our social last night to foster the relationship building between them and the broader SREC. Stay tuned for information on additional events through the balance of our term. And finally, the Partnership and Coalitions Committee has been tasked with reviewing and administering the booth policy of our 2022 Republican Party of Texas State Convention. We have established a subcommittee tasked with bringing a proposal to this body at the nearest possible meeting. We hope to bring it in July, but we have to see if it'll fit in the call of that meeting. If not, it'll be at our September quarterly meeting. It'll be in your call. And then regards, this is a report from Pastor Stephen Broden from David Wilder, and he's the chair of the Auxiliaries or Partnership and Coalitions Committee. Now, at this time, we're going to ask a representative from each of our partnerships to come up and give you just a few minutes of what they're doing, and how they're reaching out, and what might be helpful to them to get from us. We're going to start this with Brad Namdar of the Texas Young Republican Federation. You come up, Brad.
Morning.
up there.
Turn the switch on.
Turn it on.
Young Republicans, what are you gonna do?
Well, you get the young Republicans to set the technology. Good morning, everyone. I'm sure we're all awake and bright and shit. So, just a quick update, guys, on the Texas Young Republicans, the SREC, of what we did this year. I want to let you guys know my name is Brad Namdar. I'm your Texas, wire SREC RPT liaison. We're going to go over quickly, what we did this year, our leadership initiatives that were important to us, and things we got done, and some things we could do better. As we go down, there's an overview. So, basically, we're the oldest, club that was founded for Republican membership in 1856. It's more geared towards young professionals, hence YR, young professionals, young Republicans. Why, listen. So we're young 18 to 40. But at the same time, we have 36 clubs across Texas. We've gotten 6 more this year, and I think we're going to get 1 more in McLennan County. We're about 1,900 members total. Our mission is to recruit, right, and train and elect the next generation of Republican leaders, and that's something that we've been very passionate about. But we can't do that without your support and also people, teaching us along the way. Our state party, leadership is all their names right there. It's also online. Our president and our chairman is Hayden Pageant. We've got Wasif Hernandez, and if you notice, we'd like to diversify it too, from Collin County to Hidalgo to Harris to Montgomery to Smith to Travis to Dallas County, all a part of our state leadership board, that we all work together in cohesiveness to be able to give a good positive impact out there. Elect Local is something that we did as an initiative this year, which was really awesome. What I loved about it is that we had over 4,000 voters during our deployments, and our deployments are where we get all of our YRs, doesn't matter what county you're in, and we're like, guys, we need you for municipal races. So they'll get, some gas money and a for hotel, and then we'll go hit it hard. We'll go block walking, we'll go door knocking, we'll go poll greeting, everything as a whole coalition for various municipal races and other elections across the state, which SREC members, as we're going into more elections, please keep that in mind as well. If you guys have a municipal race, or even, doesn't matter what it is, we call the wires because we'd love to do deployment. It's a lot of fun, and we're YRs, so what can I tell you? We go out there and we get it done. So we've had 5 of them this year, over 1,000 of them. 10 volunteers was the minimum for deployment. That was the least we ever had. That was done. You can see right there, we've had it for Mackenzie Kelly, for Austin City Council, Mandy Villarsava. We had it for Rosario County candidates, Plano. That was about a month ago. I was there at that one. And Maggie Parker. So those are really important. It's unique that we do in Texas. We also had our legislative dinner, which was in the Kalahari Resorts in Austin. We had over 600 attendees, 40 of our state legislators, and quote-unquote the big 3 attended the event as well. That is Hayden right there on the right-hand side of the screen, taking a selfie. All right, there we go. The next one, our policy victories. So we call them victories. I call them, updates. So constitutional carry was a success. We said abolish abortion is a partial success. These are part of our platforms. Government reform, partial. Cannabis reform means hemp, partial, and also bail reform. We felt pretty strongly about it. Our goal, especially for this next year, is YRs to run for office. Yeah. We need YRs to run for office. Let me repeat that. And win. YRs run and win. We need to get more of them in there, but also I encourage all of us to make sure that we do that as well and support them in those endeavors. As opposed to saying, wait your turn, young buck. But here's the next thing we want to do is we have the municipal videos that you guys can also show to your own counties for kiddos that want to maybe run for school board or city council, and it's produced. It's what does a local office do? Because some people don't know what a city planner does. What does a city councilman want to do? So what does a school board person? They don't know. A lot of people in Dallas, they thought Dallas City Council meant they have oversight over the school board. You don't. You don't. So it's important for us to educate. We made a virtual municipal candidate training seminar on there. We also made it, it's just kind of how to get wires ready to run for municipal officer commissions, but it's also good for me too, or you too, or anybody. And the last slide we got over here is that we're gonna have our 2021 convention, September 17th through the 19th. Again, at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock. We have right now estimated 150 YRs that will be attending. It's our first ever Texas YR alumni reunion. And then we're gonna have a gala September 18th at 6 p.m. All y'all are invited. And if you believe in the prosperity of Texas and the United States of America, then you believe in attending our event for the Texas Young Republicans. If you guys have any questions, I also have packets as well. We thank you guys so much for y'all's leadership. It was a good year, and this next year, it's gonna be even better. All right, so thank you guys.
Our next partnership would be the Texas Federation of College Republicans. We have Brandon Kaiser.
Thank you. I promise to keep this brief. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the SREC, good morning. I wanted to briefly share with the SREC some of the exciting things that college Republicans have accomplished this past year. During the campaign cycle, TXFCR members from across the state knocked over 100,000 doors, made hundreds of thousands of phone calls, and worked or volunteered on dozens of campaigns across our state to help in the fight for conservative values. After this strong effort across the state to help get Republicans elected, TXFCR shifted gears and started focusing on the struggle we face on our college campuses. This effort has focused on getting solid conservative individuals into positions in our student governments. This effort is imperative in our overall goal of ensuring that all students have a say in how their universities operate, and ensuring that far-left radicals no longer will be able to spend our tuition dollars to further their anti-American and anti-Texan agenda. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of many CRs, especially our members at Texas State University, I am proud to inform you that both the Texas State and Baylor student governments are held by solid conservative majorities. In addition, several of our members and other conservatives hold influential positions in student governments across the state. Even more importantly, I'm excited to inform this body that Camille Setgas, a Texas State CR, has been appointed by Governor Abbott as student regent for the Texas State University system. And Matthew Smith, also a Texas State CR, has been appointed to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board as student representative. Notably, this effort is going to be important in the fight against Confucius Institutes, which will serve as malign tentacles of the Chinese Communist Party on college campuses, and, even more worrying, in some of our K-12 school districts. For those who do not know, Confucius Institutes are institutes funded by the Chinese Communist Party. On the outside, these institutes serve the purpose of promoting Chinese culture and language. However, the true intention and purpose of these organizations is very sinister. Confucius Institutes serve as strongholds for the CCP to spy on Chinese nationals studying at our universities, steal our cutting-edge intellectual property, and indoctrinate our youth with communist propaganda. This is unacceptable. While we are thankful to God for and proud of our successes thus far, we are not going to stop here. I know we will see even more student governments being run by solid conservatives in the year to come, and perhaps even more importantly, I want to see our state take serious action against any and all Confucius Institutes, and I hope to have the support of all of you as we continue this endeavor. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless Texas. God bless America.
Our next partnership is the Texas Republican Assembly. Ann Gebhardt, one of our own members, is going to give us an update from that.
Thank you very much. The Texas Republican Assemblies is an organization founded in the 80s. Our president currently is Steve Holland. He's a little kind of the brains behind this organization. It's a bottom-up grassroots organization. Hold on just a minute. based on Reagan conservative principles. It's affiliated with the National Federation of Republican Assemblies, which is federated in 30 of the 50 states. The Republican Assembly is the governing body for the Texas Assembly chapters, which are presently in Central Texas, Denton County, I think. David Wiley, I think, is associated with that one, Tarrant County, and we're trying to get a couple others started. And so if you feel like you'd like to do that or help encourage one in your area, let us know about that. What makes the Assembly different from other GOP organizations is that it places an emphasis on recruitment and training and supporting of candidates in the primary, and not just in the general elections. And it's an endorsing organization, and it's very difficult to get the endorsement. It requires 2/3 of the members voting to endorse a candidate. So it's something that if you receive it, it's a big deal for those candidates to be able to tout. Assembly members are also bound by bylaws to exclusively support Republican candidates, and they can lose their membership. So Steve Hollern would tell you that we are more conservative than the Texas Republican Party in that respect. And we're very pleased to work with the Texas GOP. Thank you for this opportunity. And rather than spend the remaining of 5 minutes talking to you, we've left a packet yesterday at your seats, and you feel free to read up on the copious information in that packet. Thank you so much.
We also have one of our newer partnerships, the 150 Black Men of Texas, and Dr. Wesley is going to come give us a little update from them. And there we go.
Good morning. All right. So why 150 Black Men of Texas? When we look back just a few years ago, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, those 4 states were won by President Obama back in 2012, but Hillary Clinton could not pull them in 2016, and because of that, we had a President Trump. When we look at the great state of Texas, we hear about 150 black men starting the Republican Party of Texas along with 20 Anglos. That's history that most people don't know, and especially people in the black community. We have to go on the offensive. There's no doubt about it. When I look back at the 2018 convention in San Antonio, Texas, my wife and I were present there, and we looked around, and there were thousands of people there at that convention, but it was very few. I can count less than 50 that looked like me. And for that reason, we have not just a perception issue, but we have an elephant in the room that we must address. People say, well, why bring up race? Democrats are using it all the time. They're using race as an Achilles to stop you from speaking, to stop you from saying anything. It's critical race theory. I've spoken about that recently. This is going to be an effort to make sure we can combat the efforts they're using with emotions instead of intellect with critical race theory. The 150 Black Men organization or initiative, we're going to be going on the offensive, letting people know you're not just coming to a place, we're welcoming you back home. Because as black people, this is where you started. So we're making sure we travel around, my wife and I, and we've gone to different parts of Texas, and we're sharing the 150 Black Men initiative with people because they're wondering, one of the questions I'm asked most of the time is, what do I say? How can I tell people about the Republican Party without them shutting me down, without them calling me a racist? How many of you have heard Republicans being called racist? How many times, right? And so when we begin to tell them the truth of history, when we begin to tell them that this organization that indeed has its foundation with 150 black men and 20 Anglos, many are shocked. When we tell them that we had more than just one black chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, Chairman Allen West is one, but we also had Norris White Cooper. We also had William McDonald, and this was in the 1800s. When we begin to tell them this, they're like, wow, if you can, go ahead and move over to the historic men. Second one, third one, thank you. We tell them about this. This is a landing page, 150BMOT for blackmenofTexas.com. This is a landing page, so even when you do not have the words to say, direct them to 150 Black Men of Texas. Direct them here. Not only will they find out history about the organization, but they'll also find information that will help them this day and time. So we have history. If you look at our leadership team, go to team, second to the last. If you look at our team is quality men. We have myself, of course. We have a retired Navy SEAL that's a part of our team. That's the vice president. We have another gentleman who's a professor at a university, and he's also part of the Frederick Douglass organization of Tarrant County. So we have quality people leading the organization. If you look at our chairman is wearing this beautiful crest, our new logo that's on his lapel right now. Yeah. He is a part of this organization. Likewise, is Chaplain Stodlin. And so I was asked a question by a university dean. He says, and he's an Anglo, he's a white person. He says, hey, Tim, can I be a part of it? I said, absolutely you can. So for those that's wondering, is this just for black people? Because the left is waiting for something like that. No, it's not just for black people. It doesn't matter your race or ethnicity, you can join. You can become an associate member. If you're outside of the state of Texas, you can become an affiliate member. If you're a woman, you can still donate, because guess what? Your funds matter. And we can use them to get the word out. And ultimately, as we continue to look at this organization and what we're doing with this entity, we're going into the hearts of the community. I'll close in 1 minute. We're going into the heart of the black community. I always tell people, you may have an excellent message, but if you don't have the right messenger, no one will listen. I can go places that you all can't go. I know we're about faith, we're about family, we're about finances, we're about future. I know we're about Judeo-Christian constitutional conservative values. And many people in the minority community are about the same thing, but we don't have the right messages going in. We're recruiting messengers that look like myself, that look like Chaplain, that look like the chairman, to go into these communities and say, we hear you, we hear your concerns. If you can go to the contact us page, go to services and resources. Last thing I point out, this is the place, again, the landing page. We want them to register to vote. They can go here, contact their representatives, learn more about the Republican Party of Texas. If you scroll up for just a moment, they can also learn on how to become voter registrars so that they can register voters as well. They're going to find out also that we want to know, not just lip service, what's going on with you. We want to hear your opinions. And so from the black community and any minority community, we will hear about their concerns. We'll take it up and bring it to you all, the SREC. Hopefully you'll take it back to your communities. At some point it goes through our county meetings and goes all the way back up until we get to the convention. And maybe, just maybe, we can have some of their issues to become platform priorities that we can take to our legislators and let them know we're not just lip service, but this organization hears you, we're doing something about it, and we're making a difference. And we're also acting, letting them know we will pray for you, because we are an organization of faith. Once again, if you want to know more about this, go to 150bmot.com. We encourage you to join so you too can wear this shield. Proudly wear this shield. And we ask that you would just continue to spread the word about us, because we're new, but we're not done. We're just getting started. Once again, my name is Dr. Tony West, and God bless you.
Awesome work. And our next partnership, no pressure on the Juan Seguin Society is one of our other new associations and partnerships. And Alma Jackson is going to give us an update from the Juan Seguin Society.
I really hate coming on after him. That is our logo. Everything he said I could repeat, except I'm working with Hispanics. And I don't look at color. I never have. We're all Americans, and here in this state, we're all Texans, and that's just the way I see it. We have a website set up, and I'm really excited because I have excellent board members on this. Naomi Narvaez, well, there she is, right there. She's one of our members. This is a conservative club. Our foundation is Judeo-Christian based, and we're going to keep it that way. We do have an event already set up for July 17th in Rockwall, and I'm working on scheduling one in San Antonio. The emphasis there will be on candidate training. And by the way, the purpose of this Once Again Society is to reach Hispanics, to inform and to educate. This is necessary. As long as we have the media that is not working in our favor, we have got to step up and tell the truth. And we have so many low information voters out there, folks. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that we are the party of the rich white men. How many rich white men ran for president in 2020 on the Democrat ticket? Come on, open your eyes. And we have to be polite. You know how it is, sometimes you just want to pull their hair off, but you can't do that. You have to be very polite, temperamental, and I'm pretty good at that. And I may walk away and have a lot of water afterward, but that's what we have to do to reach them. It's information. We have plans to put on, an event in Kerrville. I have a lady in McAllen who has asked us to speak there, and she's working out details for us. I'm also communicating with 5 different Hispanic pastors along the borders who are very interested in working with the Juan Seguin Society. And I sincerely believe that the way we're going to reach Hispanics is through the churches. I've been doing this a long time. I was a precinct chairman for 29 years in Bexar County. I know how to reach people. I know how to recruit, and I'm working very hard at it. We just have to let them know that we are their party. Next slide, please. That's pretty small.
Okay, this is showing the percentages of Hispanics. New Mexico appears to have the most Hispanics, but not really, because their total population is 2 million. So the percentage is higher. Texas has the highest percentage per population. We have 28 million people in Texas. California has 39 million, but their percentage is a little bit lower than ours. So Texas is really hosting a lot of Hispanics, and it's going to continue because of the border crisis. And so it's very important that we reach them. We're hoping, and we're even speaking about getting that border closed. I have been to 2 events that Frank Lopez has been very instrumental in setting up. I've been to one in Teresa Springs and one in Del Rio, where we did a symposium. And we had a lot of border patrolmen there, people who know what's going on. And Frank has done an excellent job of bringing attention to this. But if they're going to continue to come in, we need to reach them. We need to get them on our side and get them off that attitude of freeze. No, you work for it. We don't have an inequality problem. We have a problem of not working for what we want. That's where the problem comes in. Next slide, please. Texas is at the top. This is from 2020. The green line signifies that we had 2 million Hispanics move to Texas. But we had just under 4 million people moving to Texas last year in 2020. So there were more Hispanics that moved in than any other ethnic group. So that makes this important. We've got to reach them, and we're going to work as hard as we can to get that job done. And by the way, we do have a website. I'm sorry I didn't put it up there. I didn't think about it. But it is OneSeguinSociety.org. Very easy. OneSeguinSociety.org. And we're taking donations. I'm telling you, nothing gets done without money. We have to put material.
I didn't know they put it up. It's great. And the vice president of the Juan Seguin Society put this together for us. His name is Joseph Vargas. Excellent guy. I want to get him in here to speak to SREC about what he knows. He does great presentations. By the way, Rosalba Martinez, who works for RPT, is also one of our board
to thank you for your attention. That's about it. That's it. Thank you very much.
One additional partnership that we have that has somebody here to speak to us today is the Texas Federation of Pachyderms, I believe is called, and Pachyderms. And Karen Marshall is going to come give us an update from that group.
Steps on that way.
Right now.
Howdy, everybody. I'm a grand old pachyderm. I have been for 6 years now, and I've really enjoyed it. I very much enjoy what this organization is all about, because it's about educating voters, educating people on the issues. It's an excellent introduction for nervous neighbors who don't really know how to start and get involved, and because they don't find it intimidating. Education is an excellent way to start. And 2021, believe it or not, has been a great year for Texas and for the National Pachyderm Federation. Nationwide, we're starting clubs from Orange County, California to Florida. Membership is growing exponentially. Thank you, Biden administration. In Texas, even 2020 and 2021, we've shown a lot of growth. There's 3 clubs in the process of starting, and we started another 3 clubs officially in the last year. There's one starting in my neighboring county of Guadalupe County. I'm a member personally of the Alamo Pachyderm Club. Now, although starting just at the beginning of COVID, the Tri-County area just on the other side of San Antonio is beginning to meet. And we have several others who have talked to us about wanting to charter. And you'll be able to find any of these that you're looking for in your area on the National Federation of Pachyderms Club's Facebook page. For any of you who aren't familiar with the National Federation of Pachyderm Clubs, we're not just another political organization. Our mission is to promote active citizen involvement and education in government and politics through the formation and support of grassroots Republican clubs across Texas and America. We focus on information and educating. You can hear from experts on all issues important, both those with historical value and current concerns. You can meet candidates, learn their biography and where they stand on the issues. And all of this is in an atmosphere of discussion and with respectful manner. That is the hallmark of our organization. In San Antonio, I kind of joke that I belong to the Gentlemen's Club, because these are the nicest, most civil, courteous, and well-informed people I've ever met, and that's what keeps me coming back, is because they're really into discussion, but in a very civil manner. They're more into informing and finding solutions. And everyone is welcome at a pachyderm meeting. If you're not a member of a club yet, or you know someone who's not a member of anything yet, but they're looking for a way to maybe possibly get involved, please contact Suzanne Feather or myself, and we can get you in touch with your nearest pachyderm club. If there's not a club in your area, but you're interested in starting an educating organization to inform the citizenry of your area, also contact us. And the easiest way is to contact Suzanne at sfeather@pachyderms.org. And if there are not any questions, I hope, then I will cede the rest of my time back to the body.
We have a few other partnerships, but I don't believe that we have anybody here today to represent them. We're going to probably bring them into another meeting, but the Texas Asian Republican Assembly, I know that Anthony Wynn is a leader of that. He's usually here, but he's not here today. The MOK Association, Eric Hall is the president of that group, and I'm in close contact with him, but they couldn't make it. And then the high school Republicans, Owen Zhang, they are very active, but I did not hear back from them for this meeting. One of our coalitions, the Republican Liberty Caucus of Texas, Jeff LeBlanc is the president of that, and we're going to try to rope him in to come speak to us next time. However, because y'all changed the rules yesterday and allowed us to go ahead and have partnerships instead of just auxiliaries, we've been able to change the statutory prohibition. We've been able to go ahead and re-include the Texas County Chairs, Texas Republican County Chair Association, and Dwayne Wright is going to speak to us representing them here. Thank you.
This is actually the first legal time I've spoken in front of the body. I took the mic once, broke a storm, but that was a couple years ago. And we need to put on the agenda something about the order of speaking because I'm behind all these great speakers today. Yeah, we're the TRCCA. We support, educate, and train county chairs across this great state of Texas. We've got a couple of major initiatives, and one in particular is the county website program that we're in partnership with the Republican Party of Texas. That's the one I get the most questions about because, interestingly enough, I live behind the Pine Curtain, San Jacinto County, 25,000 strong, lots of trees, squirrels, and oxygen, but no bandwidth. So we know how it is to struggle with the county party's website. So I get to lead it up. It's really cool. We've started building websites, and I'll just condense it down because some of the details get a little boring. When we first started the program a couple years ago, and I've got to get a shout out to Terry Harper. He was instrumental in getting this across the finish line. Yeah. So what I did was I was given an administrative password, and I logged in, and I'm like, here we go, let's do this. And got in there and realized I was in the mothership for the RPT. It was a little intimidating. I'm like, whoa, I'm in that site, you know. So, but we'll just move forward with it, and we have to create users and create template websites, and then we have a job aid that we send to the chairs that explains with pictures and explanations, step by step, how they can detail out the framework that we give to them. Okay. So it was, it was a little rocky at first, but we went from 11 websites whenever the TRCCA started helping out to we immediately hit 31 within a week. And then we took a step back and looked at this whole, we're on the mothership, we've got security concerns. So at that point, we stepped back, and what was decided with leadership was to mirror and have a separate site that wasn't intrinsically tied to the Texas GOP site, and it protects it on security levels. And so we would just duplicate exactly what we were doing, but just not being tied together. So what that has entailed is we've had to basically put growth on hold, and we're in the testing phase right now, the final testing phase. We should be done within 7 days to have the new sites online. Now, the interesting thing is the county chairs will know nothing, they don't know any of this. All they'll know is they'll log in and it's the same deal for them. So on the user end, nothing changes. It's all back-end changes that we're doing. It's a lot of work, and I appreciate the patience of the RPT and Mr. Chairman. And so that's what we're working on. Some may know, I know Mr. Chairman does, from coming to San Jacinto County, we have 67% national forests. So not a whole lot of room for growth at this point. Well, because of all the trees, sometimes we don't see the forests. And I appreciate the leadership of Chairman Covey, president of the TRCCA, because he was able to notice that the chairmen were not tapping into this resource. And it's free to them, no cost. So he came up with an action plan that we would take the show on the road and go around the state and meet with the chairs in their areas. Because as we all know, they're already volunteering their time and their efforts. And so to have them drive 7, 8, 9 hours to get to a meeting was just not feasible for them. So we've gone to them and we've traveled around. So far we've had 4 regional meetings. The average attendance is 20 to 25 chairs at each meeting. And at those meetings, a couple of things come up. One is we're a resource. 2, you're automatically a member of the TRCCA. There are membership dues that we can get into with some other stuff, but you're a de facto member and you get access to the education, the website. We use a mobilized internal app so that we're not in a parent-child relationship with Facebook or Twitter. We have our own thing. So we're able to communicate amongst the chairs, and they have access to that from day one. As you know, as yesterday there were some appointments of new chairs. We have a turnover rate that a lot of people aren't aware of. There's between 50 to 75 chairs turnover every cycle. So we have to educate them and figure out how to stop the bleeding. That's been our charge, was to try to do that through the education and support. Because we feel like once they're grounded in not getting arrested for making a finance mistake, because that's one of the biggest fears for chairs, by the way. Once they're grounded and they're not in that zone, they can actually flourish as a chair and do some other cool stuff. And one of the cool things they can do is notice trends, okay? And when I was coming up here, I noticed that this committee's name changed to Partnership Coalitions. That's PC. But you've heard all of the speakers, and I think we're redefining PC to mean passionate and committed. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for your time. I'd like to thank the chairman for everything he's done, because, I mean, you've seen it today with the people that have come to this podium and addressed this body. This group is exciting. And there was a time when it was thought that maybe the group would just go away, it was irrelevant, and it didn't have a charge, no scope. That's absolutely not the case. And it was because of the leadership that we have at this table right here and out here as to why we can have these people come up and explain what they're doing and what's going on. Our website is trcca.com or trcca.org. The backstory on that, Democrats hacked us and zapped us. We had 512 documents loaded into our server. All but 3 were destroyed. Our website was destroyed, but what they didn't know is we were on it. Within 18 hours, we had secured it, because it was on an Asian server prior, and they were able to get us that way. So we went to a different server. We were able to protect our site, and not only did we do that, we went ahead and just grabbed up the other site while we were at it. So that's the way we operate. You knock us down, we're going to go up even bigger on the next to go around. So anyway, appreciate your time, and thank you for everything that you guys do.